وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. Last night's discussion was on finishing up the main body parts of the Hajj, the main skeleton of the Hajj. Abu Sayyid. We also spoke on some of the punishments and some of the penalties of violating some of the or violating the ihram, the sacred state, the inviolable state. The punishments of that. Tayyib. What are the things that you have to do and pay? And the list goes on. Then Khalid, that was a long discussion. We then began to talk about al-mawaqit. Al-mawaqit, plural of the word miqat. Plural of the word miqat. And we said the mawaqit are of two types. We said they are zamaniya and makaniya. The mawaqit, the zones are of time, and there are zones of place. And we spoke last night, and we broke down, we talked about the time zones in the Islamic calendar and in the Viking calendar. Khairan inshallah. We had a bit of difficulty in a few cups that were full, spilling over the edge. But alhamdulillah, if the cup is not full, that means something's wrong. It has to be at least one full cup in the class. And some brothers' cups are fuller than others. Khairan inshallah. With regards to the calendar and making things easy upon the Muslims. Khairan inshallah. So tonight, hopefully, this will be Abu Bakr. Hopefully within that we can finish all speech on Hajj and Umrah tonight within that ta'ala. Alright? This year, I don't think we're going to go over the Udhiyah and the Dhabh and the Sayd. Whereas we're running short on time. There's not enough time for one reason or another. And anyone who wishes to know, who wishes to be refreshed, who wishes to benefit, to go over the information or learn it for the first time, can kindly go back to the playlist that we did last year and the year before last on the Udhiyah and on the Ahkam of Eid. The manners, the etiquettes, the recommendations, the preferable things of Eid, and also the proper way of slaughtering. How old does the animal have to be? What sex does the animal have to be? Can you share? Is it mandatory? And this goes on. Many brothers today from South Carolina were asking us, and other brothers as well, about these different questions. So we don't have enough time this year to go over it and do a whole nother workshop like we did last year. Please go back to the playlist with the name ta'ala. Khairan inshallah. We left speaking on al-mawaqit. The author, Hafidhullah ta'ala, he says, al-mawaqit, he says, qisman, two types. The first is zamaniya, we explained that last night in detail, and the second is makaniya. Tayyib. We're here on page 114. Still on page 113. It says, or page 112, it says topic 5. The specific times and locations for entering into the inviolable state. When it's time and the place in which you go into the state of ihram. When you go into al-ihram. And the things that become obligatory upon you, and the things that become unlawful upon you once you become a muhrim. We spoke about the times. He says here, the specific locations for the people who want to make Hajj or Umrah are 5. They are, number 1, Dhul Hulayfa. And it says here in English, Dhul Halayfa, which is a typo. Dhul Halayfa. Dhul Hulayfa. Says this is the appointed place for the people of Medina and those who pass through it. It is 435 kilometers from Mecca. It is the appointed place that is the furthest from Mecca. So, Abu Sayyid, as we said before, most brothers, not all, but most who come from America, they normally do what to have a Hajj? Tamattu'. They normally perform Umrah first. There are some brothers and sisters that go to Mecca first and then go to Medina later on. They have different rulings. But those who go to Medina first to relax, buy thobes, buy books, buy oud cream for their hands, buy their wives gold jewelry, visit the mashayikh, visit the university, bring students food, snacks, Girl Scout cookies, food that you've been craving, all of those mouths. They normally go to Medina first, and then they go and they perform what? Umrah. So once they go to Medina, they're considered to be what? People of Medina. So they're going to make their ihram from a place called, alaykum salam, Dhul Hulayfa. That is where they're going to go into ihram, at that place. And he says, and this place is the furthest of all mawaqit. This miqat is this proximity, Medina is the furthest of all of them. Alright, but that's 435 kilometers is how far? How many miles? 200 miles? Roughly. Right. With that being said, you're going to go into the state of Ihram and Dhul Hulayfa, and you're going to drive to Mecca for how many? 200 and some miles, correct? Everybody understand this? On the way to Umrah, on the bus. Tayyib, when you're in your hotel at the Hilton, or the Dar al-Tawheed Intercontinental, or Dar al-Iman, okay, the different hotels that they have in Medina. I don't know what hotels they have now, and they're popping up. You're in your hotel, that's not the miqat. That's not what? That's not the miqat. If you want to go into the state of Ihram, you can. It's not mandatory that you do it at Dhul Hulayfa. But it's mandatory that you refrain from passing Dhul Hulayfa unless you went into Ihram. So if you take off all of your clothes, you shave your hair, trim your nails, you do whatever you want to do. If you have deodorant on before the Ihram, and things like this, you put on your petroleum jelly, your powder, before you even go into the Ihram. Now, this is important. 270, that's a lot, all right? About how many hours? Roughly 4.5 hour drive, depending on how fast the bus driver is going. Now, so therefore, with that being said, you can take off your clothes, you can prepare yourself, you can take a shower in your comfortable 5-star hotel in Medina. Instead of going to Dhul Hulayfa, which is going to be extremely crowded, dirty, unhygienic. Okay? It's a reality, unfortunately. This is the reality, all right? So with that being said, just because you go into the Ihram clothes, you shave, you shower, it doesn't mean that you're in the state of Ihram yet. So you can cover your head on a bus or the cab from the hotel to Dhul Hulayfa or your house. We used to put on our Ihram sometime in our homes. Most of the time we would rough it out at Dhul Hulayfa. But brothers that come from America may not be used to that type of, rough, rugged lifestyle like that. What is this? This is a bathroom? It's a hole in the ground. And a pot of water. There's no toiletries, potpourri, no soft, lush carpet for you to put your feet on while you're using the bathroom. There's none of that. Antibacterial, so none of what? Doesn't exist. Everybody understand this? This is real rough. Play it. So with that being said, just because you put on the Ihram clothes, it doesn't mean that you're in a state of what? Ihram. So when you're in the car or the bus from the Hilton to Dhul Hulayfa, you can still do what? You can cover your head, cover your face. Everybody understand that you can put on oil as long as it's not what? On the Ihram, even though that's a long discussion with regards to putting on oil before Ihram among the ulama, which we're going to get into right now. You can kiss your wife. You can do whatever you want because you're not in a state of what? Ihram. Unless you make your intentions to be in the state of Ihram. But a person says, I'm going to follow the sunnah and I'm going to make the Ihram at Dhul Hulayfa. That's when I'm going to make the actual niyyah. Aqdul niyyah, is for lidukhul fi nusuk. Is when you make the actual intention. Metaphysically, Sheikh Mahdi. And that then makes your physical what? So the clothing of Ihram is a condition of, or it is not necessarily a condition, but it's something that's essential, mandatory of the Ihram. The physical dress, the physical and viable things, unlawful things, are a result of the metaphysical state. But the metaphysical state can remain without those things. Everybody understand this? Khairan inshallah. He then says, number 2, Al-Juhfa. This is the appointed place for the people of Asham, Syria, Palestine, Jordan, Lebanon region, and Egypt, and those who are from the same direction or pass through those areas. It is a village close to Rabigh. It is 180 kilometers from Mecca. Today, people enter the inviolable state at Rabigh. So, if you're from Lebanon, if you're coming from Egypt, or let's say, Mathalan, one may say, what other countries may come from the direction of Egypt? Libya? North Africa? Sudan? He mentioned that here, Palestine. Al-Muhim, anybody that's following their road. Everybody clear on this? Number 3, he says, Yalamlam. This is the appointed location for the people of Yemen and surrounding areas and those who pass through that area. Yalamlam is a valley about 92 kilometers from Mecca. Number 4, Qarn al-Manazil is the appointed location for those coming from or through Najd or Ta'if. Today it is known as Asil al-Kabir. It says here in English, Asil. That's what it says here. It is 75 kilometers from Mecca. The place to enter into the viable state is at the top of Qarn al-Manazil. Number 5, That Irq. It is the appointed location for those from or going through Iraq, Khorasan, Central and North Najd, and the surrounding areas. It is a valley and it is also called Al-Dhariba, and it is 100 kilometers from Mecca. We're not going to get into the details of these places because they don't necessarily pertain to us. We can mention them. Islamic studies, you know them in general. If you hear the term Yalamlam, it's not a foreign language. You act, oh, that's familiar. Isn't that a miqat? But if it doesn't necessarily pertain to you, then you shouldn't spend so much time, effort, and energy on a thing in which your time and effort and energy is already limited. Everybody understand these words? Not that it means no value of its no importance, but don't spend all your time, effort, and energy for something that doesn't directly pertain to you as a layman. It doesn't mean that the Yalamlam and Juhfa and That Irq are unimportant and they don't mean anything. Everybody understand this? As a jahil may think and may say. Everybody understand this? 3 important words. Time, effort, and what, Nafis? Energy. If you have a compromised set of time, compromised wealth, compromised energy, it makes no sense for you to busy yourself with something that does not pertain to what? Your specific situation. If you've mastered the basics, that's a different what? Different story. Everybody understand this? You have more time, more effort, more energy, that's a what? It's a different story. Layman, learn the basics in general, a crash course, focus on the thing that in most cases you're going to what? Do. Everybody clear on this or not? Most of the brothers here in this masjid, and Allah knows best, Umrah, you go to make Hajj, you go with the Hajj package. In most cases, you want to go where first? Medina, in most cases. So it only makes sense to make the most focus on Dhul Hulayfa. Everybody clear on this? Khair inshallah, moving forward. It then says, those are the appointed places for the people of those areas, or others who traverse through those lands wanting to make Hajj or Umrah. We understand from that is that if you want to go to Mecca to get a job, or you want to go to Medina to study at the Islamic University of Medina, you're not intending to make Hajj and Umrah, you do not have to enter into the state of Ihram. He says these locations are for those who intend to make what? Hajj or Umrah. If you don't want to make Hajj or Umrah, I want to go get married. I'm going to Medina to make money. Permissible trade and commerce. It's not haram, it's not makruh. I'll have a business there. Or I'm going to study Qura. Naam? Everybody understand this? Whatever the case may be, then you do not have to necessarily go into what? Ihram. That's not what all the ulama say. That's what we're reading here in this text. Clear. Moving forward. The author, he then says, whoever is living already within the appointed places enters the inviolable state wherever he wills, to the point that the people of Mecca enter the state within Mecca itself. If you live within those boundaries, then there is no what? Miqat for you. Wherever you are. Your house, the backyard, wherever you wish to do it, that's where the miqat is. Everybody clear on this? Those who are outside of the miqat, they have to what? The checkpoint. Those who are inside of it, there's no what? There's no what? There's no miqat. Listen carefully, guys. This is very important. There's no what? Miqat. You live inside Mecca. I'm studying Qura. I want to make Hajj. Where do I make ihram from? Wherever you are. Everybody clear on this? Outside of it, different what? Story. Moving forward. The author, he then says, if a Meccan wants to make Hajj, he enters the inviolable state within Mecca. Clear. Within Mecca. If he wants to make Umrah, he goes outside of the limits of the sacred mosque and enters the inviolable state there. That which is known as the Hill, the lawful place of Mecca, outside of the area of the great mosque. you go outside of that region. So let's say a brother or sister or family live on the border. It's Mecca, but this is the zone, the sacred zone, and over there is the unsacred zone. To go into ihram for umrah, what does he have to do? Walk 10 feet. Jump the gate. Everybody understand this? Move over, go cross the border. Then he does what? Makes his niyyah. Now he's officially in ihram. Then he does what? He comes back in to perform his umrah. Everybody clear on this? That is not the case with regards to Hajj. The door has nothing to do with what? Hajj or umrah. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this or not? Khair inshallah, moving forward. The author, he then says, moving forward back to the Arabic, he says here, طيب إذا لم يكن, he says, من أراد الحج من أهل مكة طيب أحرم منها ومن أراد العمرة من أهل مكة أحرم من الهل وهو خارج الحرم من جميع الجهات. إذا لم يكن طريقه على ميقات فميقاته حذر أقرب المواقيت إليه فيحرم إلى هذا سواء كان بطائرة أو سيارة أو باخرة. The next point he says, if a person does not exactly pass through one of the appointed locations, he enters the inviolable state at a location parallel to the closest appointed spot. To the what? Closest spot. Parallel to the what? Closest spot. So let's say he's closest to Yalamlam or Juhfa or that Irq or Dhul Hulayfa, whatever the case may be. That's where he's going to what? That's what he's going to what? And the same applies to other issues in Islam, Salih, such as on a plane, making salah. What time zone do I go? I'm on a plane now, Fajr is going to come in. Where am I at? I'm in the middle of the Atlantic. Greenland, Iceland, this, that country, where you are, Spain. The islands closest. You have to calculate these things before you get on a plane. And then you time how many hours the flight is. The flight is going to be, for example, 6.5 hours to Senegal. So I have one clock, one watch. And then I have the time for the salah in this island. The time for the salah in the closest country where I'm going to be. 4 hours into the flight on the plane is going to be kada time in this country, this island. And that's what I'm going to base my fajr off of. I'm not going to sleep. I'm not going to say I'm going to make fajr up when I land. No. You have to make the closest what? Estimation. This is very important in fiqh now. The most important or the most close estimation that you can possibly make to the country where you're going to be in 4.5 hours. Everybody understand this? And do not wait until you get on the plane. Is there Wi-Fi? Is there service? Does the app work? Everybody understand this? You want to calculate these things what? Ahead of time. You have to be on point. Khairan inshallah. This is one of the biggest benefits of traveling, Sheikh Mahdi, is that it forces you to always be what? On point. You have to be alert, you have to be aware, you have to prepare yourself. Moving forward, the author, he then says, he enters the inviolable state as he passes that location, whether it be by plane, car, bus, or whatever. In Arabic it says bakhira, a steamship. Literal translation. You're on a steamship, a big boat, Omar, huh? You're on a cruise. Entire hip, cruise, nah? Everybody understand this? You're on a cruise. One is getting close to the miqat. What do you got to do? Get out of your tuxedo. Huh? Take your rolls out of your pocket. Untie your bow tie. Your handkerchief. And go into what? Go into ihram. Everybody clear on this? Tahib. Khair inshallah. Moving forward. The author, he then says, لا يجوز لحاج أو معتمر تجاوز الميقات بلا إحرام ومن تجاوزه بلا إحرام لزمه الرجوع إلى الميقات ليحرم منه فإن لم يرجع أحرم من موضعه ولزمه دم وحجته وعمرته صحيحة وإن أحرم قبل الميقات صح مع الكراهة. The author, he then says, it is not allowed for a person making Hajj or Umrah to pass beyond the appointed locations without entering into the inviolable state. It is haram, unlawful, to go past Dhul Hulayfa, Juhfa, Yalamlam, unless you're in the state of Ihram. La yajuz. He then says, if a person passes through them without entering into the inviolable state, he must go back to them and enter into the inviolable state from there. What repentance does he have to make? Didn't mention. What expiation does he have to make? Didn't mention. But he has to do what? Just go back, turn around. Everybody turn what? Turn around. Let's say you didn't know, you were ignorant. And you got into an argument with the cab driver. Or a discussion. The cab driver started giving you advice. In Saudi Arabia, many cab drivers, alhamdulillah, they have knowledge. Some of them went to school, some of them are graduates, some went to high school, some come from Sudan, Egypt, Mauritania. They have fiqh. Everybody understand this? Or I say the cab driver's a Saudi. He said, I'm not a scholar. I smoke cigarettes, I shave my beard, but I studied this in middle school. This is the reality. Alhamdulillah, the schools in Saudi and the great efforts that have been put forth. Everybody understand it? By the government and by the ulama with regards to teaching the people the proper fiqh and the consciousness of knowledge in the light of Ibn Abdul Wahab's great dawah and legacy. Everybody understand this? So he may say, whoa, wait a second, you're going to make a haji? You got to go back. No, I don't. He said, you got to go back. Okay, I'll turn back for you, no problem. Everybody understand this? I'll stand out here and smoke my cigarette? Huh? Well, you make your ihram. Honestly, I'm not that religious, but I still want to help you out. And when you go make hajj and you see the Kaaba, make dua for me to stop smoking. Everybody understand this? So if you go past the miqat, you have to do what? You got to go back. That's the only thing that you have to do. Moving forward, he then says, if he does not go back and enters into the inviolable state from wherever he is, and he says, I'm not going back, it's 30 minutes back, it's an hour back. We don't have the time, we don't have the gas. Then he says, I want to make ihram from what? From where I'm in right now, in the middle of the road. He says he must sacrifice an animal. That's the first expiation. Sacrifice a what? An animal. He says, and his hajj or umrah will be valid. It's not his hajj is not balted, it's not false, but he has to make it what? A sacrifice, an expiation. If he enters the inviolable state before reaching the appointed locations, his act is valid but reprehensible. Makruh. The ulama of Islam, they say it's valid, it's permissible, but it may be disliked to go into the ihram before the miqat. Why? Several reasons. First and foremost, is just going against the sunnah. Secondly, they say a person may drive for some time, he may become tired, he may become sleepy, he may become this and that, and he covers his head, covers his face. He may pluck or pull something, trim his nails. He may be sitting in a car with his wife, he gives her a hug and a kiss. Everybody understand this? Because it's a long road. She says, I'm excited, honey. SubhanAllah, we're making hajj together for the first time. He said, yeah, I'm excited too, baby. He gives her a hug and he kisses her. That's mubashara. Yeah, everybody understand this? This is a reality. We're only keeping it what? If you want fake food coloring, sugar, and dye, then we can't help you right here. Not a hadith disciple. We didn't. Alhamdulillah, we didn't. Everybody turn this or not? So what's important is they say that it's dislike, take notes, Khalid, is important. Islamic romance. Your wife is a believer. She's excited. Want to make hajj with you. We've been married all of these years. She gives you a big kiss, you give her a kiss. Cannot do that. Everybody understand this? So therefore, by you going into the state of ihram a long time before the miqat, these things are prone to happen. They're what? Prone to happen. So the best thing to do is make ihram at the what? At the miqat. Now you're in the full mental state. No more anything that's unlawful, dislike to do. Everybody understand this? But if you did it, it's still what? Valid. But it's makruh. But just because, once more, just because you put on the ihram clothing does not mean that you have entered in the state of ihram. But if you do go into the state of ihram and you do put on the clothing, now you're a muhrim. No matter how far it is to the what? Miqat. Let's make an example of this. Say one goes to miqat and ihram in JFK. Everybody understand this? He goes to ihram in South Ozone Park, the Van Wyck. Or Southside Jamaica. Everybody understand this? He says, I'm now in the state of Hajj and Umrah. He has to go to the airport. He has to park the car or get out, grab his suitcases, check in, go through the security, sit and wait for 2 hours. Everybody understand this? Get on a plane, wait for the plane to board, and take off and fly for 13 hours. That whole time he's in the state of what? Ihram. Everybody clear on this? Wadah, ikhwan? So the ulama, they say that's permissible. The author says it's what? Permissible, but it's what? Makruh. And those are the reasons why it is makruh, which is clearly logical. Nothing about it is unreasonable. Khairan inshallah ta'ala. Let alone, last but not least, is the concept if the ihram gets dirty, let's say you spill some coffee in it, Khalid, huh? Spill some coffee, oh man. Or Nafis sees you going to make Hajj. And he puts the ayn on you. Where you going? You going to make Umrah without me? And the coffee just does now what? Spills all over your ihram. This is a reality now. So obviously the brown coffee stain is going to look unsightly. Everyone understand this? Is it permissible to change your ihram clothing?
Yes.
You say yes. Father Abu Bakr, give us the full cup. Afriq. Pour it out, Sheikh.
If you spill some urine over it, for example.
No, we said coffee, brother. We never said anything about najasa. This is a textbook example of what? Full cup. You must know your brothers. We said coffee, which is tahir, pure. That was the question. No Starbucks. No bucks for the star. Fadl Abu Bakr. طيب خير إن شاء الله. بارك الله فيك. What you think, John?
I think we could.
Abu Idris, you think you can? You Omar. Omar's minhaj. طيب. Abu Idris, can you change your ihram clothes or not?
Yeah.
You can put on a new one.
Yeah.
That gives you another ihram, right? You get into another state?
No, it's the same state.
Same state. The clothes are not the thing which determine the ihram. In contrast to what most people think and believe. The terry cloth, unsewn, unstitched, that is not what? Ihram. That is one of the requirements of ihram. Wearing clothes that are your normal clothes, that are one of the unlawful things of the inviolable state. But that itself is not the what? The ihram is the metaphysical niyyah. The intention, I'm now entering into the state of hajj or umrah or both. Khairan inshallah. So the ulama of Islam, they say it's nothing wrong with changing the ihram clothing. Khairan inshallah ta'ala. That's alhamdulillah the end of the chapter. We have successfully read, studied, commented, and debated on those issues from this brief and concise manual on fiqh. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla by His beautiful names and perfect attributes to bless us all with beneficial knowledge and righteous action. I hope that all our brothers and sisters who are on Hajj and Umrah, perhaps those who may be watching now, I ask that Allah accept all of their ibadat, ameen, and allow them to return safely to their homes with the reward and with the spiritual purity, bidnai ta'ala, and to give them Hajj Mabrur, ameen. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to accept the Hajj, the Umrah, and the Salat of all of the Muslims. And we also ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to allow all of your Eid to be a Eid which is a means of happiness, a means of joy, and a means of bliss, and a means of thankfulness and gratitude. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullahu khairan. Hopefully next year, bidnai ta'ala, if Allah gives us life, we will study Hajj from a different book, maybe a bigger book, smaller book. Allahu Alam.